Welcome, dear viewers, to your daily haven of excitement, mystery, and celebrity sparks, Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Before we plunge into the heart of a story that has the entire internet buzzing, make sure you're subscribed, tap that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and, if you want to support us even more closely, click the join button to become part of our exclusive family. Now take a breath, get comfortable, because what we're about to unfold isn't just chatter. It's a symphony of looks, pauses, delicate signs, and outsized consequences. A tale set in motion by three small words that the world has been replaying in a loop. It all began with that famous, casual, almost teasing, "I don't know." Barış Baktaş said it with that unflappable calm that has always been his armor. It sounded like a period at the end of a sentence. But instead of closing the door, it swung it wider. He certainly wasn't pretending not to know who Yagmur Yüksel is. That would be ridiculous, but rather dodging the very thing everyone suspected, a closeness quietly resurfacing, an alignment no one could see but everyone could feel, a glow returning where the embers were never fully out. I don't know. 3 words meant to dim the flame, and yet they became gasoline. The most modern gesture of our time did the rest, a digital tap that can feel like a confession. It took one click, less than a heartbeat, a follow. A microscopic move, almost invisible, but in the new language of love it reverberates louder than a press statement. Barış started following Yagmur's new lifestyle profile, the one she created without fuss, where she posts simple coffees, corners of her home soaked in afternoon light, details that whisper instead of shout. And in that instant, the web ignited. Comments cascaded. Theories multiplied. Memes flourished. Eyes examined every pixel. Classic Barış. First he shrugs, then he leaves a breadcrumb. Is it romance or coincidence? Overnight, fans became detectives, algorithm analysts, and star-crossed statisticians. And then, the ring. The detail that took a suspicion and turned it into a fever. Because, let's be honest, a follow can be random. But a ring catching the light on Yagmur's finger in a supposedly casual video? That isn't noise. That's a signal. A tiny glimmer, caught in the soft glow of a living room that felt more intimate than it wanted to admit. And the fans? They zoomed. They froze frames. They studied the metal, the band, the understated, masculine design. In a flash, that ring became the smoking gun. Theories exploded, platforms trembled. TikTok went delirious. Instagram became a cyclone of clues. Twitter transformed into a newsroom powered by hopeless romantics. People compared backgrounds, reflections, the shade of the furniture, even the rhythm of sunlight sliding through windows. Anyone who noticed that slab of marble cried, "It's his." Anyone who caught a glimpse of a particular chair murmured, "She showed that too." And then came the photo. The one that froze the entire room. No tags. No caption. Just the two of them, wrapped in an ease that needed no explanation. He wore a quiet half-smile, she held a gaze that said more than a dozen interviews. And the ring, again, there, unassuming, almost shy. Those who have followed them for years know this dance. Barış has a choreography that is uniquely his. He refuses to perform on command, then releases a clue heavy enough to shake a timeline. It's as if he's telling the world, "I owe you nothing, but I hide from no one." Yagmur moves differently, with a grace that reveals by illuminating. She doesn't explain, she lets light fall where it needs to. She doesn't confess, she invites you to notice. The result is a story that doesn't need narration to live, because it's already carved into the public's pulse. The romantics rejoiced, they were meant to find each other. They've always had a spark of their own. The cautious took a breath, is this too fast? Why now? What's between the lines? But that's the mark of stories that truly move us, they sow confusion, anticipation, wonder, and, most of all, involvement. Speaking of involvement. What do our faithful watchers at Turkish Spotlight Secrets think? Is this reunion written in the stars, or still unconfirmed? Don't be shy. Drop your thoughts in the comments, because your voice shapes everything we do. Let's be honest, the collective imagination never released its hold on their chemistry. Every joint project, every clip, every photo from years back resurfaced, like a promise that refused to expire. Recently, whispers said both had entered a different season of life. Quieter, more deliberate, more hungry for truth than applause. Friends close to Barış say he has learned the art of slowness, preferring simple breakfasts to noisy nights, seeking peace over performance. Those who know Yagmur mention how her smile has taken on a softer hue, as if she has finally found a safe place to rest without trembling. So the question becomes, what if this isn't a beginning, but a return? A ring can be decorative, yes. But in celebrity orbit, it's rarely just an accessory. When it appears without explanation, without red carpets, without fashion spreads, it transforms into an enigma. And if we're being honest, enigmas are often the truest things we have. That ring didn't plead for attention. It asked for nothing. It simply existed, as feelings do when they've decided to remain. Those who want strategy will always find strategy. Those who look for love will recognize it in 1,000 tiny places. In restful eyes, in shoulders that finally drop their armor, in smiles that aren't auditioning for a headline. Media-made romances are flawless and symmetrical. Real ones, though, gleam in hesitations, missteps, and unplanned returns. And this, no matter how we turn it, feels like the latter. Are you ready for what may come next? Perhaps we're at the prologue. Perhaps we're already in the middle. Or perhaps we've all watched the ending years ago, and what we're seeing now is simply continuity, written with more maturity and less fear. Would you like to see Barış and Yagmur together more often? Would you want them as guests here on Turkish Spotlight Secrets? What question would you ask if you could sit across from them, coffees in hand, the afternoon light inching across the table? Tell us below. Your curiosity fuels ours. Because there's no denying that some connections refuse to stay quiet. You can try to bury them under schedules, contracts, and the clamor of public life. But then 3 words escape, I don't know, and the truth rises, not like a shout but like a tide. Maybe he meant to cut the rumor. Maybe he hoped to quiet the noise. Ironically, his calm drew everyone closer, as if silence itself were a lighthouse. Think of that follow again. Imagine the moment, thumb hovering, mind arguing, heart, perhaps, already decided. To outsiders, it's a nothing. To those who pay attention, it's a compass pointing home. Then the ring appears in a video that's all cozy corners and amber light. Not a staged reveal, not a glossy announcement, just a life happening, and a glint you can't unsee. Fans become archivists of light and shadow. They catalog marble veining, plant pots, glass reflections, even the warmth of the bulbs. They lay images side by side and trace the halo of familiarity. It's his counter. It's her chair. It's their story. The photo, though, that photo felt like fate catching its breath. No words, and yet an avalanche. 2 faces settled into each other's orbit as if they had never been apart. The hand positioning wasn't dramatic, it was habitual, lived in, like a secret handshake learned over time. That subtlety, more than any speech, made people believe. Barış's pattern resurfaced, deny spectacle, then act with quiet certainty. He's never been one to fling open doors for the crowd, but neither does he stage an exit. Yagmur's language remained luminous, she curates light as if it were ink. Together, without saying a line, they wrote a chapter everyone could read. Of course, not everyone reads the same way. Some call it timing. Others call it destiny. Somewhere between those shores is the truth they hold for themselves. What matters is not how loud the clues are, but how naturally they sit. Like a ring that never begs, only gleams when the moment is right. Friends whisper that he has learned to choose softness over spectacle. That he's traded downtown noise for morning calm, set down trophies to make room for quiet victories. Those close to her say she's been editing her life, cutting out the glare to keep the glow, tuning out the crowd to hear her own pulse. Maybe this is why their paths feel less like a collision and more like a merging lane. And how many times did we see this coming? Old interviews, accidental laughs, scenes that outlived their scripts. Every few months, they would rise again, like a chorus the audience refused to skip. We don't forget the people who once made us believe. We circle back to them the way the sun finds the same window every afternoon. So where do we go from here? Simple, we keep watching with patience. If there's a story, it will tell itself in the way they stand, in the objects that populate the background, in the weightlessness of their smiles. If there isn't, we'll still remember this season as the time when 3 words on a quiet day pulled the whole world into a hush. Let us know, beloved viewers, does this feel like a return to a truth that was always waiting? Would you want to see them sit together on our couch, answer your questions, bring their silences and their laughter to the room? Drop your questions for Barış and Yagmur below, what you're dying to ask if you had 10 minutes and a warm coffee between you. Thank you for walking with us through this maze of small clues and enormous emotions. Don't forget to subscribe, like, turn on notifications, and, if you want to stand a little closer to the heartbeat of our work, hit join and step behind the curtain with us. This is Turkish Spotlight Secrets, and we'll be here, always, to speak both what the world sees and what it can't quite say yet. Because some stories are built like cathedrals, brick by invisible brick, until suddenly you look up and the arch is soaring above you. And maybe this is one of those. Maybe they didn't craft it for us at all. Maybe it just happened, gently, the way dawn happens. The ring sits where it sits. The follow stands where it stands. The photo exists without pleading for a headline. The 3 words echo and fade, and in the hush that follows, something older than a rumor breathes. And if you ask us, we'll tell you what we always tell you, truth in celebrity life is rarely in the speeches. It's in the half-smiles, the soft landings, the sudden bravery of being seen without trying to be noticed. If you've ever loved in public, you know, the quiet things are the loudest. So keep your eyes soft and your heart open. We'll watch the light together. We'll listen to what's said and what isn't. We'll trace the glint of that ring as it wanders through ordinary afternoons, and we'll remember that sometimes the biggest declarations arrive as a whisper that will not go away. And if this really is their return, may it be steady, may it be tender, and may it be theirs before it is ours. You're watching Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Stay close.